Hi guys, welcome back to 17 square meters garden. Today's video is gonna be a quick one, but hopefully you'll find it helpful and interesting because we are gonna talk about mulch. So what is mulch, what can be used as mulch, different types of mulch, benefits of using mulch in your container garden, and also very briefly about organic matter. Again, what are different types of organic matter, how they differ from one another, and also what are the benefits of using organic matter in your containers. So let's go, let's begin. Okay, so first of all, what is mulch? Mulch is a layer of either organic or inorganic matter that you put on top of soil in order to protect it. In real garden, we protect soil from erosion, and in container gardens, we protect soil from compaction. Because potting soil is not the same as garden soil. It tends to compact really easily, especially because we water so frequently. But mulch has many great other benefits. It helps to suppress weeds, even in containers, because we get weeds even in containers. It helps to retain soil moisture, so prevents excessive water evaporation. It protects the plant roots from heat in summer, it isolates them a bit from frost in winter, and it also provides nice, beautiful, decorative finish to your container. Now, what are different types of mulch? We have organic mulch and inorganic mulch. Organic mulch is anything that consists of plant or animal remains, so it can be straw, bark, compost, farmyard manure, spent mushroom compost, anything like that. And inorganic mulch is either man-made or mined, so it can be gravel, rocks, pebbles, or something like landscape fabric. Is it better to use organic or inorganic? Well, organic mulch has that benefit that as it decomposes, it releases nutrients back into the soil. Inorganic mulch is never going to decompose, but it gives more decorative effect. Because if you were to choose between compost and, for example, beautiful pebbles, obviously pebbles look more pretty than compost. But that doesn't mean that you have to choose between organic and inorganic. You can totally use both of them at the same time. That's what I do most of the times. I use a layer of organic mulch at the bottom and then something more decorative on top. So now let's go. Let me show you how I'm mulching my containers. And as I do it, I'm going to speak a little bit about organic matter. Okay, so first I'm going to start with mulching my tuyas. I repotted them last year, so this year I'm only refreshing mulch. I refresh mulch every single spring for all of my plants. And here I'm using pine cones as a top mulch. So I'm very quickly going to remove the pine cones and then I'm going to show you what I do next. Okay, so now I'm gonna scrape the top layer of soil because it's really dry, it's old, it doesn't have any nutrients in it. So I'm just gonna scrape the top layer of soil and refresh it with my new mulch. Okay, so now I'm gonna add a layer of organic mulch on top of my soil, and I'm using both compost and worm castings. And as I said, any type of organic mulch will be great. You can choose between compost, worm castings, humus, farmyard manure, spent mushroom compost if that's something that's available for you. And you may wonder, like, okay, but how do I know what to choose? Like, what's best, right? So in fact, it doesn't really matter all that much because any type of organic matter is great. But what is, well, let's say important to remember or to realize is that different types of organic matter are at different stage of decomposition. So for example, compost, as we all know, is made of plant and food remains. It's partially decomposed plants and food scraps. But then, for example, compost has to undergo further level of decomposition before the nutrients that are in it are available to your plants, because if you just add the compost, those nutrients are not readily available to your plants. The plants can just take up those nutrients. It has to undergo further level of decomposition by soil organisms and microorganisms. They eat that compost, and for example, when earthworms eat that compost, they excrete worm castings. So worm castings are at a further level of decomposition, and then those worm castings again are being eaten by soil microorganisms like beneficial bacteria and fungi, and those again excrete that, creating humus. And humus is a final level of decomposition, final stage. So you may ask, well, shouldn't I just buy humus then if it's a final product? And obviously you can buy humus. Humus is great. Humus has an incredible water holding capacity and incredible nutrient holding capacity. So it has a small electric charge, so it can actually capture those nutrients and it can hold them, prevent them from being leached out from soil. So humus is great, but that doesn't mean that other types of organic matter are any less great, because they all have some benefits and they all add something to your soil. For example, as we said, compost and worm castings, they are great in itself, but then they feed soil life, they feed soil microorganisms that then make those nutrients contained in those products available to your plants. So they're all great, and another great thing about them is that they have different texture. For example, compost has different texture than worm castings, and if you mix different textures with your potting mix, you are creating very rich, very porous potting mix that allows water and oxygen to pass through easily. So you also prevent your plants from being waterlogged by creating that beautiful soil structure. So I'm using pine cones as my top layer. I really like pine cones because I feel like they look great, especially with conifers, and of course they are free. You just need to go for a walk in forest, and yeah, they don't decompose very fast, so they last for many years, and yeah, I really like how they look. Okay, so it's done. As I said, you can add organic matter as a top layer, as mulch, as I did today, but you can also mix it in with your potting mix at the planting time. I often do it as well. So if you were to mix compost with your potting mix, you can add as much as 30% of your potting mix, even up to 50% for those plants that really like rich soil. For worm castings, add 10-20%, but don't stress out about it too much. Just don't measure exactly, just add a few handfuls of each, and that's gonna be great. So this pot is finished. Now I have to do pretty much the same thing to all of my other containers. Okay, just one additional advice here. When you mulch around trees, try to stay away from the tree trunk with your mulch, because if you go too high, then the moist compost or the moist type of organic matter that you choose, it may cause a trunk to rot. So stay away with your mulch from the tree trunk to prevent it from rotting. Okay, you guys, this is gonna be it for today's video. I hope that you found it interesting, that you learned something new, and if you have never mulched your containers, I hope that you'll give it a try. Thanks so much for joining me today, and I'll see you again next Saturday. Bye!